All right, you just heard from Brock Pierce, of course, the Bitcoin gazillionaire, and whether he's entertaining another presidential run. It's kind of hard for business titans to do that. We did mention the success of Ross Perot getting 19% of the vote in 1992. We did mention as well that other big business guys are being teased to make a similar run. Jamie Dimon right now being pushed. I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when they were pushing Lee Iacocca to do that. I can remember as well when Steve Forbes entered the Republican primaries for president, I believe in 1996 and in 2000. So there is sort of a blueprint for this that, very successful business types do enter these races. The rap, Steve, and it's always great to have you, my friend, is that you can't get very far. It's hard to break that control that conventional candidates of any type seem to have in either party. What do you say?
It is, but I think it can be done. Donald Trump obviously did it in 2016. Did a hostile takeover of the Republican Party, you might say. And so I think the mood of the people right now is ripe for either an outlier like Jimmy Carter was in '76, or people forget Ronald Reagan in 1980. People are open to somebody from outside the established candidates. Absolutely.
Do you ever think, though, that in the case of Donald Trump, maybe they're outliered enough that he could get the party's nomination? It would be an uphill battle to win the election. The polls don't seem to show that. I mean, he's just as competitive with Joe Biden as Ron DeSantis is. So plus or minus a couple of points here and there. I don't know what you can read into that, but that's the wrap. What do you think?
Well, I think it's much, much too early. I think we're going to see people really start to pay attention starting in August when we have these Republican debates. People are going to want to size up candidates. And with these debates, there'll be several of them. Usually you're going to see emerge a Cinderella candidate, somebody who breaks on the scene in these debates. It's happened before. Whether they can sustain it or not remains to be seen. But I think you're going to see a lot of volatility. People are in a mood for real change from outsiders who've demonstrated that they can get things done, whether in politics, like DeSantis in Florida, or in business.
On the business side, I don't want to overplay this, but there's a suspicion and an admiration. It's like a love-hate relationship we have with wealthy individuals. We love to hate them sometimes. We admire their success. But then we start looking into it and get under the hood a little bit, and we start saying, well, this Jamie Dimon guy, he's a big banker, and he's become a billionaire being a big banker, and he has operations in China, and we start examining all of that, suspiciously so. What do you think of that?
Well, that's what, if you're going to run, you have to, right out of the gate, so to speak, establish your own agenda. So they're discussing what you're putting on the table. If you rely just on background, yes, they're going to find nitpicking things they can hit you on, big things, small things, and then you're on the defensive. So you got to get out and say, this is why I'm running. Here's my platform. And the person who comes up with a Reagan-esque positive platform, I think, is going to be a formidable candidate. None of them have really done it in detail yet, but I think we'll start to see that later this summer.
But everything is seen through the prism of your wealth, right, Steve? I know you were looking and very big on a flat tax proposal. And I can remember the media saying, oh, well, Steve Forbes would certainly benefit from such a proposal. Now, you countered that. You also countered critics who said, oh, he's just the single issue candidate and all. But that's what happens to wealthy candidates. Not all. We should point out that John Kennedy emerged from the House and the Senate to become president. He was the richest president we've ever had. Certainly his family owes to that. So it didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt FDR. You get my point. But they came from more traditional political backgrounds that, a Jamie Dimon, striking out alone could not.
Well, what I think we're going to see again, just as John Kennedy, even though he had a conventional political background, he was not a big figure in the Senate. Lyndon Johnson in those days was. Right. But Kennedy broke precedent, both on the religion and as being something of an outlier. I think you're going to see precedent-breaking things happen in this election cycle, even though it may not have happened before. I think people are looking, again, for something that somebody can lay out something positive and plausible for the future. And they'll forgive any things that you may not have been a perfect human being. None of us are. They want to know, where can you take this country? Can we trust you? Can we believe in you? Is your platform and your principles what this country needs?
It is ironic when you look back at JFK and FDR that they were heroes of the working man, and they were so removed from the working man. If you just think on that side of it, it doesn't really matter, but it is remarkable. But let me get your take on this year, and it's getting to be a crowded Republican field. And I'm thinking, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm liking the news that, Vice President Pence is going to be joining in the fun, Chris Christie, the North Dakota governor. It's going to be as crowded, or maybe just as crowded, close to as crowded as it was in 2016. We know what happened then. What do you think happens now?
Well, it's always tempting to say it happened in the past, therefore it'll happen again. Yes, you're going to have 15, 20 people looking at it, but I think the field is going to be narrowed very quickly. One is you need resources to do a sustainable campaign. That's why, for example, former Secretary of State decided not to run, even though he had support in the evangelical community and the like. And so I think you're going to see other candidates they'll announce, but I think early next year, a lot of them are going to drop out, and those who don't perform well in these early debates are not going to get traction. So I think you could see this field narrow very quickly. And again, people are going to want a candidate who they think can win the election. And if Donald Trump can demonstrate that he can make breakthroughs with the suburban voters and independents, he will be the nominee. Others, I think, could make a breakthrough. People are looking. So whatever they're telling pollsters today, they want to look at the field, and they're going to have a very large opportunity to gauge these candidates in the debates and elsewhere, especially in those early states where they see the people in person, get to talk to them in person in Iowa, New Hampshire, and elsewhere.
You're right about that. We should remember that this exact time, back in 1976, Jimmy Carter was polling at less than 2%. I think he went on to win the whole shebang, but that was then. We'll see what happens now. Good seeing you, my friend.
Right. Thank you, Neil.
All right, Steve Forbes on all those developments.